seat. Or take a seat right now. Everybody should just take a seat right now, please. Please, everyone. The annual meeting and celebration for the Central City Democrats. So thank you, everyone, take a seat. My name is Dennis Eisner, the administrative officer for the Central City Democrats and chair for tonight's meeting. So again, welcome. And at this time, we would like to just go over other introductions. Other board members, Central City Democrat board members, please introduce yourself. Board member? George. Well, you know who they know who they are. They should know who they are.
You got Michael Nolte, president.
Right here.
David Elliott Lewis.
He's not here.
Absent. Marvis Phillips. Marvis. Dennis Eisner.
Yeah.
Secretary. Susan Bryan, she's in the back, treasurer. Otto Duffy,
Not here.
member at large, and then Dean Clark, member at large.
So again, welcome everybody. Thank you. The San Francisco Department of Elections is here, and they actually have some material on the back table there. If you haven't already checked it out or picked up some information, including voter registration forms. So if your registration isn't current up to date, you gotta make sure that it is.
All right, let's go ahead and kind of get this started. Okay, so let me go over a few ground rules. We want to create a safe environment in which every participant feels free to speak by reserving criticism and negativity. Listen to the views.
I'm sorry. And as you'll notice, I believe, do they have ground rules? The ground rules on? I believe the ground rules should also be on your agenda. Packet. So yeah,
I'm sorry.
You can read along.
They're on the back side. You can read along if you like. Listen to the views of others with an open mind, looking for new approaches and the possibilities their ideas open up. Seek common ground and build on the ideas of others. Encourage everyone to participate and share their ideas. Speak responsibly. Emphasize the positive. Do not interrupt another speaker or engage in side conversations or other distracting behavior when others are speaking. Avoid confrontation and personal attacks in favor of support and encouragement. When a group has a leader, use a hand signal and wait to be acknowledged before speaking. And then, why don't we Michael, do you want us to do the club objectives?
That's what it's there for.
Yes.
Okay.
Then, I'm sorry, before you get started with that, I just also want to make sure that everyone takes this time to make sure that their cell phones and whatnot are silent as I'm doing now. So, thank you. So without
Club objectives. Central City Democrats was formed and chartered by the San Francisco Democratic Party in 2006 with a mission to support the Democratic Party and its goals, hold forums and public figures on community issues, endorse and support Democratic candidates and ballot measures, register voters and get out the vote, publish information to assist voters and political analysts, sponsor voter educational forums. Who elected leaders speaking at Central City Democrats meetings and events have included State Senators Mark Leno, Leland Yee, Honorable Carol Bigden, State Assembly Tom Amiano, Board President David Chu, which is he's here tonight too. Like I said, there he is. Numerous members of the Board of Supervisors, City Treasurer Jose Cisneros, Community College Board Trustee Chris Jackson, and many other elected officials are those seeking public office. CCD hosts public debate forums with expert guest panelists from all sides of current political issues. We have registered voters and actively work on behalf of District 6, San Francisco state and federal ballot measures, and candidates. CCD hosts fundraisers and volunteers for endorsed candidates. Propositions, and charter amendments are presented, discussed, and vetted at our meetings. CCD also holds various social functions, including our annual holiday party. Where District 6 covers Cathedral Hill, Civic Center, Downtown, Inner Geary, Inner Mission, Little Saigon, Lower Market, Lower Neck Hill, Mid-Market, Mission Bay, Mission District, Northern Mission, Opera Plaza, Polk Gulch, Rincon Hill, Show Place, South Beach, South Park, Tenderloin, Theater District, Treasure Island, Union Square, Van Ness Corridor, Western Addition, Yerba Buena Island, and Yerba Buena neighborhoods and business districts. And part of Hayes Valley. I need to add that on. Our charter identifies areas by zip codes and includes adjunct zip codes allowing for redistricting of our boundaries. CCD CCD allows both residents and those who work in District 6 to become voting members.
I also want to point out too, that as it says here on the agenda, that you may jump around a little bit, depending on time schedule, time and whatnot. So not everything will be called in this order. So you won't have to get too confused.
And because this is a membership meeting, I'm going to jump to the 2012 annual report, because I guess we have to read that. If you don't mind, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Dear Central City Democrats member, Central City Democrats would like to thank you for your membership in our club. As a member, you join the 5,000 other individuals who share your enthusiasm and commitment to increasing political participation in our Central City neighborhoods. As you know, our residents and small businesses are often overlooked both in the city planning process and the public eye. Therefore, we are considered mere problems to be solved. Founded April 1st, 2006, Central City Democrats is a chartered Democratic club in San Francisco, California. We share a vision of a District 6 political community that believes government at all levels must be responsive and accountable to all the needs of the people, particularly those people who are underserved and underrepresented. In the past year, our membership and participation has helped the Central City Democrats to do the following. Central City Democrats provide voter registration and voter education. Our Central City Democrats Executive Committee attended 11 after elections campaign parties in November 2011 and posted videos and pictures. Our Executive Committee members attended the oath of office for January 2011 office holders. We sponsored 2 candidate meet and greet events in May 2011 and April 2012. We attended various candidate forums. Later we posted pictures and videos. We held November election endorsement meetings and publicized endorsements. We sponsored a holiday party and gave out recognition awards. We are a California Democratic Council Associate member. We maintain being a chartered member of the Democratic County Central Committee. Our members were active in the San Francisco redistricting process, which ended April 14, 2012. If you have any questions about your membership or benefits, please contact us. Our members are the visible embodiment of the commitment to change and improvement. It is through your desire and dedication to your community that this organization flourishes. Your membership means a great deal to us. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you at our next function. Thanks for Michael Nolte,
Our president, who is up there. And with that being said, I think this is a good time.
Is that good?
I think so. I think it's a good time to make sure that all current and past members have their memberships up to date. Their membership, and for new members, people who are not yet members, or would like to be members, because everyone wants to be members. So please, up there's a membership form, and we also accept donations as well. That's how we survive. So please, give what you can. It's greatly appreciated.
And if I may add, David Elliott Lewis, Vice President.
Nice. Okay, coming here with that.
Thank you.
And also photography.
And photography.
Is Christina and David here?
Do we have any of our guest speakers here at the moment?
Is elections are you doing a presentation? Elections?
No, they're just coming here. I think we should do Thank you for again being patient. I see that we
Let's put them on the spot.
So I will take this time then to go over our nomination committee report, which I'm sure everyone has. Is anyone wondering? Basically, our standing committee chairs our standing committees are business concern, communication, finance, fundraising, housing, and then membership, political action, program, and safety. Sorry, I was actually looking for our treasurer's report. I thought maybe you were on the treasurer's report. Team.
All right, guys, so we're going to start out with the first speaker, Supervisor Davy Campos.
Are we doing that? I thought we were, but I don't know.
Good evening. My name is David Campos, and I have the honor of representing District 9 on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. And I want to thank the Central City Democrats for giving me the opportunity to just come and speak a little bit about some of the things that we're working on in City Hall, and to also have an opportunity to take any questions that you may have. One of the things that I believe in, and is a mantra for how I operate as a supervisor, is that I believe that government has to work for everyone. And that means that the things that we're doing in City Hall not only have to address the concerns of the people that we usually hear from, and quite frankly, that's usually the wealthy and people who are, have enough money to pay for a lobbyist who is walking down the halls, but it's about hearing from low-income people, for working people, and from the middle class. And the kinds of things that I have focused on are things that really try to address the concerns of those groups. So one of the things that we have been pushing more recently is the idea of making public transportation more accessible to working families in San Francisco. And I'm proud of the fact that just recently the MTA, which is the Muni agency, the board of directors, approved our proposal to allow low-income kids to be able to ride public transit for free in San Francisco. And that is in response, thank you, and that is in response to a real concern that we heard from families, where we heard from parents who were not able to pay for the increased cost in public transit. The Fast Pass more than doubled in the last couple of years. As that has been happening, you've seen the yellow buses at the school district essentially be reduced in half. So fewer options for working families. We've heard from thousands of kids who have come to City Hall in the last year to organize around this issue. Many kids talking about how on a given day they have to choose between paying for Muni or buying lunch that day. And in San Francisco, I don't think that kids should have to make those choices. Ultimately, we're talking about getting kids to and from school, and I think that's a priority. And so I'm proud that we identified an independent source of money so that it doesn't come from the operational budget of the MTA, but actually comes from outside sources that are unrelated to MTA operations, so that we can provide the service for our families. Cities like New York, cities like Boston are already doing this, and why shouldn't San Francisco be leading the way. That allows for San Francisco to become the kind of city where we actually have families with children being able to live here. We have the lowest percentage of kids living in an urban area, even lower than Manhattan. And as a supervisor, my feeling is we need to do something, which is one of the reasons that we work on this issue. Time. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Taking questions?
Oh, yeah.
How does this work?
I believe so.
I'll leave it up to these folks.
Michael?
Really good at answering questions.
I'd be happy to take questions.
Do I have a question?
Go ahead, sir.
I think it should be.
Yes? Okay.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So, my name is J.R. Manuel. I'm a former manager here in San Francisco in '99, Board of Supervisors in 2001. Now, I recently came back to San Francisco, and I'm going to get to some of your comments in a minute, but what my observation has been so far is that the city is very poorly managed in terms of support for the police department. Since I've been here, I watched homeless people that are very aggressive and attack everybody and are very belligerent and disrespectful to the people who are law-abiding. I witnessed the other day an incident where police officers responded to a DPW employee who was parked in the middle of the road, not far from there, parked in the middle of the road. There was a disabled vehicle that was parked behind him. He had no reason to be parked in the middle of the road. The police officers came because of a response to an altercation, asked the DPW employee, who was very belligerent to everybody, pretty much, he was taking a fight with everybody, asked him to move the vehicle out of the way because it was blocking a bus stop. The DPW employee basically flipped off the top basically, that's you, I'm not moving a damn thing. The police officers had to stand down and couldn't get him to move his car out of the middle of the road. What kind of mess is that?
Well, I think in that case, the DPW, I hope that they got the name of the DPW employee, because that's not an appropriate response.
The cops tell me that they do this problem all the time. That's one thing. I'm always brief, so I don't want to bog off the space. But you said that you basically are only interested in comments from lower class and middle class citizens of San Francisco. That's discrimination. And upper class people shouldn't have meetings anywhere where they discriminate against the people who are unemployed or homeless. You're basically opening the door for people who have plenty of money to discriminate against others if you're willing to discriminate against the upper class. That's one thing. Another thing you said, and I'm going to shut up, you're saying free transit for the poor. How are you going to pay for that? And why just the poor? You're discriminating again. The city needs to work together so everybody here has an opportunity to live in harmony, not you're picking one class against the other. Whatever you want to respond, that's fine.
Well, in terms of the funding, we identified funding that's separate from anything that Muni currently has. Actually, our original proposal was free Muni for all youth, irrespective of class, but that's not something that we could approve at the MTA Board of Directors. Did not have enough support for that, so I think that having free transit for those who are not able to pay and get to school is a good thing. So I don't think that's a radical concept, but I pay for it. We identified the funding for it. In terms of what I said, I didn't say that I don't care about what happens to the rich. What I'm saying is that oftentimes the people that we do hear from in City Hall are the people who have the finances to pay for a lobbyist so that their voices are heard. But most of the time we don't hear from the middle class, we don't hear from working people. I want to make sure that everyone has a voice, which is why I think it's important to make sure that we hear from people whose voices are not often heard in City Hall, and I'm proud of that. Yes, ma'am.
I think that.
I'm sorry, if I could just interject just with that, and we do have to wrap things up and move on, but if I could just also interject just evidence of that being, for the most part, when are, board meetings held? When are the committee, meetings held? During the day. Most of us working people have to work if we are fortunate to have a job. So yeah, when our business hours for our representatives held during business hours, when most of us have to work, and so we don't have the luxury or the freedom, for the most part, to to make our voices heard at these meetings and testify and such. But
I
that's just
think
my little.
that meals should be free for everyone or have a card.
I actually agree with you, and if I could get the rest of the board to agree with that, I would push for that, but we have to make sure that we find the funding for that so that the service is not hurt. So that's why we took our time, we worked for a year to identify separate sources of funding so that this program could be paid for, 100%.
And like I said, we have to thank you. We have to wrap things up and move on. But also with that, the funding is only one half of it. We need to actually have transit first.
Thank you. Thank you.
We actually, if you are able to stay, we're doing our award presentation. Well, our other teacher is here and we've got awards. So yeah. Am I doing this on slow? I thought you did it. I didn't know. I thought it was Michael. Was it Michael? Thank you, Teresa. Of course. See, I don't like it.
Special award presentation, Steve Connell, membership.
Exactly. So now we move on to our awards portion. Are you? Okay, so the awards ceremony portion. So our Steve Connolly Champion Award for this year, would you like me to call him out?
So the Steve Conley Champion for 2012 is Mr. Charles Pitts. This award is offered to you in special recognition for your outstanding participation in our city's democratic process. It is also to acknowledge that your continual contributions in serving a greater purpose by informing the public about open government practices, your tireless activism, exceptional leadership in serving our community inspires us all. Mr. Pitts. Success, the will to make life better, the strength to withstand any adversary, the wisdom to not repeat mistakes, the courage to lead, the patience to preserve, the humility to reach out, the love to share, the good health, the words to inspire. Steve Conley, 2007.
Just to kind of let you know, all these people are going to be getting more or less the same thing, so I don't have to read them all. This is going to move forward. So this is from the Board of Supervisors.
All right. Yeah. Steve Conley, Champion Award.
What's Steve? Okay, and then you're going to be getting from Tom Mamiano. I'm reading out.
From Assembly Member Tom Mamiano.
Tom Mamiano. And then this one's from Fiona Ma. She's the Speaker Pro Tem, Assembly Person. And then we have one from Mark Leno. He's our area state senator.
State senator.
And then we're going to be getting one from our Board of Equalization, Betty Yee.
Wow.
about Steve. Steve was the past executive vice president of the club. He was also our media person when he was involved in our organizations, including this club. So he actually took us to Twitter and many of the other things to bring us up to speed as an organization. We actually do videos. I mean, you look on our website, we have videos. He brought us up to the 21st century, which was very important because we basically do a lot better than some of the other clubs. Don't understand that not everybody can come to like an event like this, but they'll see us on YouTube, which shows that we're actually doing our voter education work. So anyway, it's an important memorial award for somebody that actually was a community activist, and Charles actually exemplifies the kind of work that Steve was doing because he believed in open government. Steve was a poet. This guy's a poet, so it's almost an automatic fit, and it shows that we still have leaders in our neighborhood that are willing to do stuff for our community, and that's why he's being recognized. So he's actually receiving our highest award.
I also want to add to, if I may, Steve Connolly was extremely involved in a lot of things. He was a veteran in our armed services, and he was also involved with KPFA. And he actually has recorded our voice boundary game for the Alliance for a Better Distance message. So it's forever and alive.
That's great. Perfect.
Do what you think is best, and if you have to stand alone to do that, then stand alone. The will and the desire to force government to do the best thing, it's a calling and a challenge, and I'll just challenge you to join us and try to make our society better.
Okay, thanks.
Next, the James Leo Dunn Memorial Award of Excellence for 2012 to Tomas Bucarello. This award is offered to you, Mr. Bucarello, in special recognition for your outstanding participation in our city's democratic process, for meritorious service, and being a continual voice for progressive rights.
So you're getting similar awards, and maybe the best one to read would be John Hawes, because he actually has his
Kind of hokey. We can at least open them up so we can see what
Yeah,
we
I
get.
think
Kind of
He
hokey.
has his bio.
If you have a hold one, Michael?
I'll lay them all out.
Just open them all up so we can see what we get.
Well, but they're exact same.
You have to read them. I mean, how do we know what we get?
So this is what Assemblywoman Fiona Ma says about Mr. Bucarello. Honoring exemplary volunteer service in building and developing grassroots organizing efforts of political awareness while upholding the principles of the Democratic Party, thus being a positive role model for civic engagement, and thereby benefiting the people of the city and county of San Francisco and the state of California.
Hand on to you. This is from where we're just swinging here. This is from Amiano. It's just that we don't have time to read them all. And this is from the club. This is what James Leo Dunn looked like. He ran for supervisor.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
He was a taxi cab driver. Taxi cab driver.
That was you?
No. Okay, look. And then this is from Mark Leno. This is Mark Leno. And then this one's from
Betty Gee.
Hopefully you have a big wallet on.
Do you have anything else?
Oh, I just want to thank everybody who's responsible
it's always nice to be recognized for one's work. And this will motivate me to continue my work in the county office. Thank you.
The next one is given to someone that I know pretty well, and very proud to provide the political documentary recognition for 2012 to Tony Durenso for educating our community through the use of visual media in years of dedicated service. Tony Durenso is a class act. So here from Assemblywoman Fiona Ma to Tony Durenso, 2012 Political Documentary Recognition Award honoree, honoring exemplary volunteer service in building and developing grassroots organizing efforts and political awareness, while upholding the principles of the Democratic Party as being a positive role model for civic engagement and thereby benefiting the people of the city and county of San Francisco, Assemblywoman Fiona Ma. Okay, so it's Amiano. So this is more specific work about Tony Durenso. We applaud your outstanding work in documenting social justice events. The time you generously dedicate to providing historical media, achieving and filming documentaries is greatly appreciated. Your film productions of the Castro Street, Folsom Street, and the Haight Street fairs are truly impressive to all. It is a true inspiration to see you film local artists and musicians in the Haight-Ashbury. In gratitude for your efforts in working with the people of San Francisco, we thank you. Congratulations.
Again, Betty Yee, and then the board of supervisors.
You said one award, right?
And then this one's from the club, and this one's from Mark Leno.
All right.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Speech.
Okay,
You're not gonna give us a speech?
that was it. He's
It
got to
wasn't a
leave soon.
speech.
He's got to leave soon. And we have
So I'm in the same vein in terms of the service that's provided to the community, the political documentary recognition for 2012 to also a very special individual, David Elliott Lewis, PhD. For the use of visual media and years of dedicated service to David Elliott Lewis. Thank you.
Be in frame.
David, face the camera.
He's not used to that.
So if you want to know more about Dr. Lewis, this certificate of recognition is presented with great honor to David Elliott Lewis. We recognize your extensive career as an industrial and organizational psychologist, a lecturer at the University of San Francisco, and as founder of a database development, software, and consulting company. Your strive and leadership to help destigmatize mental illness with the Mental Health Association is truly inspiring. Congratulations. Wow, very impressive. On behalf of Tom Amiano.
From the Board of Equalization.
Yeah.
This is instead of paying for postage, you got to pay tax.
Oh, okay.
And then this one's from Mark Leno.
Thank you very much.
I'll watch you now. Start with.
Thank you, Dee.
And then you're actually getting two from Fiona Ma, one for the award and one for being a volunteer of the club.
Thank you, Fiona.
Oh, wow.
Say it louder.
Thank you, Fiona.
One more. And then this one's from the Board of Supervisors.
less money, that's why ours is smaller.
Smaller budget. Okay, and then this one's from the club, Central City Democrats.
Democrat. Great club.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I apologize, I have to run to a district event, but thank you very much for inviting me. Congratulations. You're amazing.
Is Chris Jackson still here?
All in with Mr. Jackson?
Well, because I mean he's elected official. So we should. JR, you want to help with your words now?
What do you need?
Yeah.
We need your help writing.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is practice.
Got it.
Unless you want to. So, just read that out.
Okay, this is, my name is J.R. My name is J.R. Mann, so I'm helping out here. This is the Civic Engagement Award for 2012 to Kirk Diamante for dedication and serving various community organizations and advocacy for change on behalf of the community's needs is truly appreciated. Your passion as a neighborhood activist is inspiring to all. This is the California legislation and Coloniano, okay, awards. Now, this certificate of recognition is presented with great prestige to Kirk Diamante. Your dedication in serving various community organizations and advocacy for change on behalf of the community its needs is truly appreciated. We recognize your extensive role as board member in the Harvey Milk Democratic Club. Your passion as a neighborhood activist is inspiring to all and deep admiration of your efforts. We thank you and congratulations.
Okay, we are taking a lot longer than we thought we were going to do.
You better really start saying you've got 6 candidates who want to talk.
This is Betty Yee, the Board of Supervisors.
This one here, certificate of honor. Okay.
Hold it up, smile. Thank you.
Board of Equalization. Central City Democrats.
Fiona Ma.
Fiona Ma.
And this is see, now that's all what the
This is from Mark Lynn.
Okay,
Got it.
so just
That's it? Right.
Lydia's not here, so we're going to move on to the next one. So the next one goes to Yoko McDaniels.
Daniel.
Community Impact Award for Yoko McDaniels for providing physical fitness programs to the youth and the many years of dedication in building a better tomorrow. This is from the California State Assembly, and this is Camaniano, and certified recognition Yuko McDaniel. This certificate of recognition is presented with great prestige to Yuko McDaniel for contributions in physical fitness. We applaud your hard work and dedication in improving the community with your exemplary leadership. In addition, by working with a diverse array of people and organizations, you have strengthened our neighborhood. Thank you for your unyielding support and congratulations.
Point out, this is her husband. This is not Yoko. This is a woman. Yuko. And this is basically this is from the North Market Business Association, one of our sponsors of the event. She wasn't able to attend in December, and so that's how that got put into it.
Thank you. I appreciate my work.
One from Mark Leno and one from Ben's office. Okay, now all the board members come up and get their awards.
All at once?
Board members, yes. Board members. No, just now. We're going to get your names. So, Dean, Susan, Dennis, Marcus is not here, Otto's not here. So Susan, come up here for a group picture.
You want to announce who the award is for, so we just know?
We're trying to go quickly because
There's a lot of candidates.
here, put yours out.
Who's not on the agenda tonight?
All right. So took a lot of time getting all these awards coordinated, but we got that. Now we're going to move on to the next item, which is the.
You look like a Russian.
Let's make a motion. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to the executive committee recommends that we suspend the bylaw so that all new members can vote. Can I have a second for the members? Second. Or first and then second? First. Well, I can't put, okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, then we're going to table the executive committee report so that, well, actually, we can't table the executive committee report. We're going to, what do you want to do? Yeah.
So the board, creation of board advisors position by naming some of DCCC candidates that live or work in District 6. There was a motion made and seconded at the executive committee meeting. It was unanimous. And those, the board advisors committee, sorry, it's a new title, is comprised of David Campos, David Chu, Matt Dorsey, Bevan Duffy, Carol Migden, Justin Morgan, Stuart Smith. So thank you.
And,
congratulations.
Okay, and then the next business is a motion for the club members to accept the executive committee report, which also includes on the ballot, we had itemized the issues that were that we discussed as recommendations that were on the ballot highlighted.
Yes.
So can I have a motion to accept?
Second.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Daniel, did we already do that?
Yes, we did.
Okay. Membership. I was trying to get treasurer before. Okay, so we get to, well, recommendation is that Susan Bryan, Dean Clark, Otto Duffy, Dennis Eisner, David Elliott Lewis, Mike McNulty, Marcus Phillips retain their seats on the board, and if George wants to participate again, possible. And then we also left 2 open seats for community at large. And of course, we can accept, if anybody's interested, nominations at the floor right now for one to be on our yeah. So is there anybody right now who wants to be nominated for the board to be on our next year's board of directors? Besides the current members.
You're welcome to join us.
Seeing none.
Is there anybody that wants to be on the board of directors? Going once, going twice? Okay, moving on to, can I have a motion to accept the nominations committee report as read?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, so we move on to George.
The candidates.
You take over.
Okay, hi, I'm George Dias, past president. I'll be the timekeeper for the event. We have a lot of candidates who want to speak, 14, so we will have 2 minutes per candidate. We will not have any questions. So the first one would be Stu Smith. The order is in which people signed in. Okay.
So, and I also, before Stu goes on, step right up, I also just want to I'm going to be putting a lead out, so if you could still, please be respectful to those who are speaking and try to be quiet and attentive, but help yourself.
Thank you. I'm Stu Smith. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the great work you're doing. You've got a lot going on, and I appreciate it. I'm a 20-year resident of this district, and we need a lot of services. We need a lot of stuff, and I'm grateful that the candidate field is so big, and it's so progressive, and it's so activated. And I hope that I can contribute in some way. We have a lot of issues. Supervisor Campos talked about transit for kids. We all need transit services, and we all need our voice to be heard at every single table there is in town. We don't need to be hearing about an event or an issue after it's been decided. We need to be at the table. We need to be invited to the table. We're right there with everybody else. And enough of that. I think that the party in San Francisco is doing a pretty good job, but I don't feel that we're included at the table at all times. So I'm progressive. I'm here to serve. I appreciate the work that this club does, and I hope that I can get your vote. Thank you very much.
Next is Christopher Vasquez. Left already. Next, David Chu. Well, whose fault is that? Annie Chu for Raphael Mandelman.
Hey guys, I'm Annie Chow, and I'm here talking for Raphael Mandelman. He's really sorry he can't be here right now. He's actually at a livable city meeting where he is president, I believe, of it. But he is appreciative of your PAC endorsement and your previous endorsements. He has been a staunch supporter of the Democratic Party for all his years in office. He was elected to be Triple C in 2006. And with the Democratic Party, he's chartered a lot of clubs. He's worked as a president of many other clubs. And he knows the ropes of the Democratic County Central Committee, and so he'd love your support this year also. Thank you so much.
Benjamin Gonzalez on behalf of Carol Macon. Ben?
Hello there. The senator would like to apologize for not making today's meeting because she had a prior commitment in Sacramento. Let me just read you a little bit about her. Senator Carol Macon has been a longtime advocate who has devoted her life fighting for those who have neglected and ignored the political process. She resides in District 6 and has close ties to Central City Democrats. She began her career in San Francisco as a drug counselor at the Haight-Ashbury Medical Clinic, and before she was elected to office, She was an advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness and stood by farm workers fighting for a livable wage and decent working conditions. She considers herself very fortunate to have represented San Francisco in elected office as a countywide supervisor, an assemblywoman, Board of Equalization member, and as a state senator. Currently, she is now an incumbent on the Democratic Central Committee, running for re-election, where in the past she served as chair of the committee. As a state lawmaker, she has authored groundbreaking legislation that are some of the strongest in the nation. California Clean Water Act, public power that allows communities to seek cheaper and cleaner energy for residents, tenants protections to allow tenants to get back security deposits without hassle. She also opposes the Ellis Act, which she tried to get repealed in the state legislature. Also, HMO reform. You can now seek independent review if an HMO denies your coverage. HIV/AIDS legislation, dealing with AIDS care such as organ donations, back to work programs, and rapid testing, and also domestic partnerships, which led the way to California being in the forefront of providing the most far-reaching benefits in the nation for the LGBT community. Her priorities for DCCC are to expand the party base, to a stronger commitment to voter registration, and more outreach in local charter clubs. She is currently being endorsed by the Harvey Milk LGBT Democratic Club, San Francisco Women's Political Caucus, SEIU 1021, Irish American Democratic Club, MAPA, and Bernal Heights Democratic Club. As a long and early supporter, she would be grateful to thank you for the Central City Democrat endorsement. Thank you.
Next, Dustin Morgan.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Justin Morgan. I'm a family physician with the Department of Public Health. I've been working in this neighborhood for many years, in position with the health department, first at Tom Waddell Health Center, at the health department offices, and then also several times at the Housing and Urban Health Clinic here. The endorsement of your committee was very important to me because of the long history that I have knowing people who live in this neighborhood, taking care of them as their physician. What concerns me deeply is the number of people both in this neighborhood, in my neighborhood, District 5, and other parts of the city where I take care of people with the health department, who either have no one or only one person representing them on the Democratic County Central Committee. What concerns me is the idea that people who I know and care about are being forgotten and not being discussed at all, which is why it is so important for me to be on the Democratic Central Committee, and why it is so important for this organization to make sure that when we're electing people to serve for the next couple of years, the people who actually know the communities, work in the communities, and have time to come and talk to folks like you about things that are happening. What also concerns me are the growing number of people in San Francisco who either decline to state or do not vote because they do not see themselves reflected in the Democratic Party. I think we can do a lot better than that. I think we can change that, which is why I'm so glad to receive your endorsement, and I hope to represent you on the Democratic County Central Committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Next up is Matt Dorsey.
My name is Matt Dorsey. I want to first say thank you to Central City Democrats for inviting me to participate in your endorsement process. I want to say thank you for your activism and hard work on issues of concern to the neighborhood I live in, because I live in Mid-Market and I'm a resident in District 6. And I think on behalf of all the candidates, I want to say most of all, thank you for having an endorsement process that didn't have a questionnaire, because that's how I think you're our favorite club. So I'll tell you a little bit about me and a little bit about my priorities. I worked on my first campaign for a Democrat when I was an 11-year-old kid for Carter Mondale and re-elect Ted Kennedy in my home state of Massachusetts. I've scarcely missed an election after that in which I haven't worked for a candidate or cause that I believed in. I have worked for many years as a consultant. I was a political consultant to Democratic candidates and progressive issue campaigns in 26 states and the District of Columbia. And for the last 10 years, I've had the best job of my career. I'm the communications director for the City Attorney's Office, City Attorney Dan Serrera, which has afforded me an opportunity to work on issues of concern to every neighborhood, including this neighborhood, in the greatest city in the world, San Francisco. I was appointed to the Democratic County Central Committee in December, and I'm cognizant that it was not just a garden variety vacancy I was appointed to. I was appointed to replace Michael Goldstein, who's one of my favorite people in San Francisco politics, who passed away in December. Michael lived for 25 years with HIV. He was a progressive conscience on issues involving HIV, AIDS, and healthcare generally. Because of Michael, because I'm HIV positive myself, that's going to be a legacy that I hope to continue. There's also the nuts and bolts works of democratic politics that I never have enough time to talk about in 2 minutes, but I welcome the opportunity to talk about this after, or if you want to go to my website at mattdorsey.org. But there's some near-term priorities we have to address about registering voters and making sure we're doing what we need to do to defeat the so-called Paycheck Protection Initiative. And we've got to focus on registering young voters, and that's something that we can do moving forward. So thank you very much. For No on A. Substitute for Brian, who couldn't wait.
I'm Suzanne Ricker. I'm with the No on Proposition A campaign, which is on the June ballot. Proposition A, if it passes, it seeks to separate our garbage and recycling system into 5 separate contracts. Which is very different from what we currently have, which is your garbage system, which is run by Recology, which is a San Francisco-based, employee-owned, unionized company with a strong history here in San Francisco, an excellent environmental record. We have a 78% diversion rate. Nobody else has anything near that. That means 22% of everything you chuck in the trash, that does not go to a landfill. That's incredible. And we're really a model city. We're the greenest city in North America. And Proposition A is going to completely derail that. It's going to jeopardize 900 local San Francisco jobs. And on top of that, it's going to open us up to bidding by not local companies that won't necessarily hire locally or hire union workers. There's companies from Arizona who are looking to come in and undercut us. It's because we have a good contract here. So those are just some of the reasons I'm personally opposed to it as well. On top of it, it's going to cost the city tens of millions of dollars, upwards of that even, in infrastructure costs, because the city will be required to own the infrastructure for the garbage companies. I think that's actually not a bad idea, owning it, but the timeline that it's required in the ballot initiative, it's going to be like 5 years and tens of millions of dollars. And at a time when we're currently struggling to keep General Hospital open, to keep city services funded, I think it's a terrible priority for our funds. On top of that, we've been endorsed by the unanimously endorsed by the San Francisco Democratic Party. The San Francisco Labor Council's with us, but every part of the spectrum is against Proposition A with us. That includes, the Republican party's against it even, along with the Democratic Party, the Chamber of Commerce, but we have a really strong, lineup across the spectrum, and we'd love to have your support. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Commissioner Leah Pimentel. I was appointed to the DCCC in February by the Chair, Aaron Peskin, for my years of service to the Democratic Party. I'm a third generation from Davy Jones, and I serve on the Local Agency Formation Commission with Supervisors Campos, Avalos, and Mar, working on local hire, clean power assets, and community choice aggregation. I reactivated a Democratic club in Davy Jones to get the community involved in voting. Since I've been appointed to the Democratic County Central Committee, I've been someone that's been very active. I've taken over Michael Goldstein's responsibility chartering the San Francisco Democratic Club, and I've also created the President's Cabinet, an opportunity for all presidents of the San Francisco Democratic Club to get together, to strategize, develop ways to increase voter registration, and get those that are registered but not active engaged in voting. I also serve on 5 various boards of directors in San Francisco, the San Francisco Women's Political Committee, the San Francisco Young Democrats, the San Francisco Housing Board of Directors, the Baby Opera House, and the Baby Hunters Point program. I'm someone that's very active. I'm the youngest member on the DCCC and the sole African American representative as well. I'm someone that's very engaged, someone that's very active, and someone that really has the values that it takes to be on the DCCC, and I would greatly appreciate your endorsement. Thank you.
Seuss. I'm running for the Democratic Central Committee on D17. And you guys, I'm an attorney. I live in San Francisco. I'm a native person, and I've been on the Police Commission for over 5 years. A lot of my accomplishments on the Police Commission have been the community policing. We've established that. We've brought in more police officers. We've done the language access for all, which in the Tenderloin, that's a really important criteria that is needed. We did juvenile detentions, and of course we did the taser issue. One of the reasons I'm running for the Democratic Central Committee is cultural diversity as well as gender diversity. There's not that many women, there aren't any Latino women on that committee, and we need to be at that table when decisions are made. I believe in I'm trying to think about affordable housing. I really want to make San Francisco have affordable housing. You know, I like the diversity that everyone brings to it, and I think we're forcing out seniors, we're forcing out the youth who want to come here and study, and we're forcing out families, children with families, and things like that. So I want to kind of keep the city diverse and kind of keep affordable housing in here. Public safety is also a big issue, and again, diversity. People who are endorsing me, Tom Amiano, Davy Supervisor Campos, Supervisor Mars, Supervisor Avalos, Mark Leno, as well as the Harvard Democratic Club, the Bernal Heights Democratic Club, District 8 Democratic Club. Anyway, I have a lot of endorsements. I have a lot of love for this city, and if given the opportunity, I would love to have your endorsement. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Joaquin Torres. I'm a first-time candidate for any seat, and it's my first time running for a seat here in San Francisco for the DCCC in Assembly District 17. I currently am the Director of the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services, which serves to serve the needs of all 11 districts with a staff of myself and one. I bring that up because the most important thing that we can do at the Democratic County Central Committee are three things: to educate our voters, register our voters, and get the vote out on election day. We need to do that with minimal resources, with a lot of energy in terms of help from Democratic clubs like the ones that we're speaking to not only tonight, but all throughout this election and endorsement process, and I want to be part of that movement. I know what it takes to see a very successful Democratic Party because I happen to travel up and down the state with former Democratic Party Chairman Art Torres, going to barbecues, going to picnics, knowing exactly what it takes to keep a Democratic Party thriving, and it's efforts like those that turn what used to be a very purple state here in California into a blue one, and I want to see that continue. Also, some of the work that I've done, which I think exemplifies the kind of work ethic that you want to see at the Democratic County Central Committee, is that despite the facts that I've faced severe budget cuts to my office, I've been able to create 2 academic excellence scholarships for both African American students and Latino students. I've been able to establish the first backpack giveaway, which benefited over 1,500 Latino students on the ground, and I'm looking to replicate that program again and expand it, all with 1 staff member. That kind of commitment, that kind of work ethic, is what I believe you need to see at the Democratic County Central Committee. I would love to have your support. I'm very happy to have the support of the slate, and I want to see myself go all the way with you guys, so thank you so much.
And again, I also want to just encourage people to you know, help yourself. Food, before it gets cold. I mean, I know everyone's attentively listening to our candidates, especially Dean. So thank you. But there is food.
Cut him off. No.
After he gets it, that's what I'm going to go right after this. Anyway, my name is Dean Clark, and I'm running for DCCC 17. I pretty much know almost everybody in the room here. And some of you guys remember a couple years ago when I decided to run for District 6 Supervisor. I was the guy with the little dog in the photo. And I wanted to make sure that you understood that I wasn't trying to be cute during that race, but I'm a big advocate for pet adoption and fostering of animals, and I feel as though in San Francisco we need to work harder on animal rights and try to get landlords and property owners to allow, you know, the senior, the disabled, to have pets inside their apartments. Okay. Anyway, I'm the president of the Alliance for Better District 6. I'm on the board for Central City Democrats. I'm a member of the Hayes Valley Neighborhood Association, San Francisco Bicycle Coalition, and I also am a former Marine. I was in the United States Marine Corps, served as an 0311 for 6 years. My educational background, I got a BA, a Bachelor's in Administration from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I only have about 2 more classes to go, and I'll have my master's in special education at San Francisco State University. Very proud of that. I taught for San Francisco Unified School District in the Bayview Hunters Point at Thurgood Marshall High School, and also taught in Potrero Hill at Downtown High School. It's right next to ISA. Most people don't know that particular school is. And I've already told you about the advocate work and fundraising work that I do for the little ones, especially the little chihuahuas. So, and I am on the slate, I hope, and I hope to get your vote.
Marilyn Mondiak.
Go Marilyn.
Thank you. My name is Marilyn Mondahar. I'm a resident of District 6, and this is my first time to run for the CCC and first time candidate, and thank you for having me. There's no candidate for Filipinos in DCCC. There are about 5,600 Filipinos in District 6. And the largest cluster of Filipinos live in District 11. There's over about 36,000 Filipinos in the whole of San Francisco. I am running for DCCC because I, as a former member of the redistricting task force, which just ended a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was about a week ago, I believe that the power of neighborhoods really should be brought to DCCC. And being a former member of the redistricting task force, I know the power of bringing issues and the power of neighborhoods to DCCC. I also believe that there should be representation of more women in DCCC. I believe there's very few in it, and I am part of the women candidate slate. There are 18 of us running for DCCC, and I'm very proud of that. And I want to bring the voice of Filipinos and women and the minority voice to DCCC. I also am. I have served in the Justice and Courage Oversight Project. In 2000, there was a Filipino that was murdered, and I launched a Filipinas Against Violence, and I bring that commitment to you, and I bring that commitment to and leadership to DCCC. So I hope that you reconsider your slate and vote for me and endorse me, and I thank you very much for having me tonight.
Unless anybody else wants to go after Suzanne Rucker.
Oh, sorry. Suzanne Rucker already went.
She already left?
No, that's me. That's Brian.
Susan's not here?
She's here. She talked already. I just spoke already.
Spoke already. She spoke already. How come I have her name on?
I replaced Brian for this.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak on behalf of yourself? Are you not running for something?
No,
Okay.
just properly.
Well, the most efficient part of the meeting is now over, please.
No, the meeting's not over because we still have
The
your
most
time.
efficient